Obviously you're away from home, which makes the game different as well. I think most teams in the Premier League, when you're looking at home games, you're probably the favourites in that game, albeit maybe against the Old Firm it's a little bit different, but I think being the home team in the Premier League, you're slight favourites. I also think that I know Dale and I know Doc very well, and I think they're top managers. I think they're very, very shrewd. They've been in the game a long time, and they'll implement their game plan on us, and they'd have probably learnt a few things from the first game against us. So I've no doubt in my mind that they'll come up with a way to force us back away, force us into a mid block, a low block, try and limit the amount of time we've got on the ball, but he'll be trying to pick 3 points up, and as I said, I think the two of them are very, very good at what they do, so it's going to be a really, really difficult game. I look at Kilmarnock and I think they're just one of these teams. I think they're not a million miles away in terms of what Dale's trying to do. I think you'll consistently see Kilmarnock get better as the more windows Derek gets under his belt, but I spoke to Derek after the game here and he was saying the amount of games that he's lost 1-0. So yeah, you're obviously disappointed losing games 1-0, but you've got to look at the other aspect to that. The chances that you're giving up are very few and far between. So I'd rather be losing games 1-0 than 2-3-0, so to speak. So I don't think they were a million miles away anyway. And there's always that wee kind of adaptation coming back into the Premier League. I was at their game on Saturday, the St Johnstone game. I thought they controlled large portions of that game. Really, really unlucky. Again, lost 1-0, but really, really unlucky not to take something from the game. It was a wee bit of a freak goal that St Johnstone scored. It was a huge deflection early on in the game, and then Kilmarnock controlled large portions of the game. I think that's part of St Johnstone's game plan, but I think they're a very, very good football team. They've come out the wrong end of results, but looking at it, I think large parts of their performances have been there. So I think it's going to be a really, really big ask for us to go and take something from this game. I think you can see like you're getting to the end of this batch of games, so to speak, with the World Cup coming up. So there's 3 games left, so I think everybody's putting a wee bit more into these games, because you know you've only got 3 games before you're off for 5 weeks, albeit you're not playing competitive football for 5 weeks. You're still going to be training. So yeah, I think there's that wee added element to that. So let's try and pick as many points up as we can in the next 3 games and see where it takes us. I think everybody's going to be in the same boat. You're looking at Rangers and Celtic, again using them, they're probably coming back out of that. They're not got European football to contend with at that point, so it's going to be a really, really competitive league. It is just now, but I think that's going to get more intense after the World Cup. So these next 3 games for everybody is hugely important to try and pick as many points up as you can. But I'd be sitting here telling lies if I think I want 9, but there's no guarantee we can go and do that, and every club's the same. So there's no divine right at this level with the 3 teams we've got coming up that we can go and pick points up. And I don't think, out with probably the Old Firm this year, you're not guaranteed points against anyone. It's a big, big ask, and we're not a million miles away from one another. So it's going to be very competitive, but I think that intensity is going to increase after the World Cup. But you're going to see the start of that coming into force the next 3 games. I think performance-wise, fairly happy. Points-wise, not so much. I don't want to keep harping on about the past because it's not really how I like to coach, but I'll do it one more time. Probably 4 points off where I think we should be. But again, I think I'm not really want to focus too much on the historical events because I can't change them. But performances, fairly happy with the squad. Our points wise, I think we should be a wee bit better than where we are. But again, you could ask me after these 3 games, I could have a different answer for you, or I could have the same answer for you. So I think there's probably not a Premier League manager, maybe Ange, but there's probably not a Premier League manager out there that's happy with the points tally that they've got at this point in time. So I don't know if that's answered it and made it a wee bit more complex for you. Really difficult game. I've watched them, even away from home. I think they take the game to the opposition. So I think it's going to be a really challenging game. But away from home, we're probably going there slight underdogs, take the league position out of it. So just a a really difficult game. You've got two in Derek and Doc who know the league inside out, very shrewd operators, and then they've got very good players at the football club, so it's going to be a difficult task to pick 3 points up. I think both managers, both teams will be going there to try and take the 3 points. I don't think any of us are going into the game not to lose a game, i.e. in terms of maybe a point and back down the road would be good. I think we're more than capable of picking 3 points up. I think Derek will be telling his Kilmarnock players the exact same thing. But again, you look at 80% of the league, maybe a wee bit more than that, 90% of the league, we're all saying the same things, out with maybe Rangers Celtic. I quite enjoy it when I've got a game on the Saturday and you're going home after training on the Friday and Friday night football's on, so no, I'm not adverse to it. We try to use it to our advantage, to be honest, try and get an extra day ahead of Aberdeen, but their game was a Friday as well, so that never quite worked out. But nah, quite like it, quite enjoy it. Allow us to get to a game on the Saturday, watch the opponents, watch a Premier League match, or maybe even a Championship match on the Saturday. So not a huge advocate. I like 3 o'clock on a Saturday, but that's how I'm programmed, it's how I grew up. But so I'm welcome, I'm open to change, and there's something I don't know when you're going away to games and evening kick-offs with floodlights, the darker nights, I don't know, there's a wee bit of a buzz around stadium, so I'm looking forward to the game. Tom Parks, Jamie Brandon, Shamal's back training.
Good news with Shamal.
Yeah. Listen, I think I could have probably thrown Shamal in on Sunday, but I think I would have been taking a huge gamble with Shamal and his availability for the next 3 games. So I was a wee bit cautious in that respect. Hopefully that educated guess or that educated assumption that he's going to be alright in the next 3 games works out for me. So Shamal's back training. I'm trying to think who else was out last week, Dave, on Sunday. Big Curtis had a virus. He's been back in the building this week. He was off all last week. He had an X-ray last Sunday. That's shown there was no fracture in the tibia or the fibia. So the injury he got at Ibrox wasn't as bad as what we feared, but he was off all last week with a virus. We've had wee bits and bobs with the virus this week, but nothing that's going to impact the game on Friday. So Shinny never trained, but he's training the day. No, there's not a lot, to be honest. There's not a lot. Shamal's back in training, so for me that was a big one for me, from the squad. So leaving him out on Sunday hopefully made him available for the game on the Friday, and that looks to be the case.